Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar where we're going to be talking about cyber resilience and just looking at a few of the ways that your business can ensure that it can bounce back if disaster was to strike with a cyber attack or a natural disaster, etc. So before I start today, I'm just going to do a quick sound check. If anyone in the webinar can let me know that you can hear me okay. I can see some lovely customers now joining. So yeah, if anyone can pop that in the chat, thank you. So, like I said, today is going to be cyber resilience. How fast can your business bounce back? It's a topic that, again, everyone's talking about, but with AI and how AI is supporting disaster recovery and things like that, it's a really, really interesting area that we're really excited to talk about. And we are joined by the lovely Neil from Acronis today. Acronis or Acronis, we were just discussing how to say it, and apparently I went for the middle one, so let's go with that. But anyway, as it's 1:10 now, I'm going to take a start. Just going to introduce you to the speakers today again. So hello, Neil. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And do you want to just tell us a little bit about your role at Acronis?
Of course, yes. So hi everybody. My name's Neil Jelly. I'm the one of the strategic partner account managers at Acronis, and I'm supporting today CSG, who are one of my partners who we work really closely with. Part of the Acronis team is what we do is to support our partners in terms of bringing this sort of messaging to life, supporting their customers, and also sort of just helping bringing some of our products through to enable them to deliver their services to you guys utilising our platform. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about it through the course of the session.
Oh, thank you. We're really lucky to have you today. So thank you for taking your time out of your morning to join us on this, hopefully, luckily sunny morning. So anyone who's new, I know we've got some new faces today. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are CSG. We are celebrating our 40th year this year, which is a really exciting time for us. But it's also at the same year that I think a lot of businesses are looking to refine their technology strategy with AI as the talk of the town. Pretty much every company is really looking to utilise the tools that are available. But as CSG, we always emphasize the importance of doing that securely. So we're a trusted IT partner for around 400 SMEs across England and Wales, and we cover Bridgend, Bristol and Exeter. Last year we did a rebrand and we redesigned our website, new logo and everything, so it's a really exciting time for us, and now it's following into our 40th year. And discussing exciting times, we're really, really happy to achieve the platinum partner status with Acronis this year, and that's a lovely comment actually from yourself, Neil, about us becoming a platinum partner, and it just makes us have a statement of how we're able to provide our customers with trusted, high quality and cyber protection using the fabulous tools that Acronis provides us. So that's our Ricky Killer there. I'm sure a lot of our customers recognise Ricky's face there. So big congratulations to the whole team on that. So here's just a little bit about what we do with disaster recovery. I know a lot of our customers know this, so I won't delve too much into it, but just a reminder of all the things that CSG can help you with. And if there's anyone new on the call today, it's great to know of the available options. So we're always security focused with our storage, making sure that you have 24/7 cyber protection, because no one attacks 9 till 5. It's always when you're least expected or on holidays. And the virtual disaster recovery allows us to replicate your machine during a failover, allowing us to have that backup at a click of a button, really simplifying the process. And if you need to retain data for long periods of time, compliance regulations, all those other things, no matter what industry you are in, there's always going to be specific regulations to comply by, and we're there to help you with that one-on-one support then. And reducing the recovery time, that's all this is mainly discussing about, how to make sure that you get your crucial data, because let's be honest, the time that it takes to recover is really the moment that you could be down for and then lose potential customers, etc. And then we'll be taking a look at how the proactive and reactive tools are working using the latest AI disaster tools available. And this basically allows us to have more control over these events that are happening. And instead of being in a reactive mode to, oh, what shall we do now? We're having a bit more of a proactive approach to it, which is always great to help reduce the risks. We're taking a look a lot at cloud disaster recovery solutions. I know a lot of people have moved to the cloud with their phone telesystems. We did a webinar recently about moving your phone systems to the cloud, and it's the way forward. It's what everyone is doing, and it's ensuring that we do it securely. So our cloud disaster recovery solutions allow you to have backups that are tested regularly. It's disaster recovery as a service, which means that it's reliable, and flexible recovery options as well, working with your businesses and what you can afford and process at the time, and that ongoing testing and support, because not one solution fits all. CSG are here to help that ongoing support, just because businesses change, times change, environments change. So we're here to help sure that you are prepared for those changes. Quick introduction from me this morning. I'm going to hand you over now to Neil. Thank you so much for listening, and take the floor.
Thank you, Eve, and good morning again, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. So just to sort of set the scene, today isn't just about introducing another security product or adding more tools to an already busy environment. Instead, today is about outcomes. It's about showing how CSG helps customers reduce risk, simplify IT operations, and recover faster when something inevitably goes wrong, using a single integrated platform and powered by Acronis in this instance. Most organisations don't struggle because they lack technology. They struggle because their backup tools, their security tools and recovery processes have grown separately over time and don't work together when it really matters. So what we'll walk through today is how CSG changes that by designing, operating and continuously improving a joined up cyber protection and resilience service on your behalf. So a little bit about Acronis. We operate at a significant global scale. We protect hundreds of thousands of organisations and workloads, analysing massive volumes of real-world threat data, and that scale directly feeds intelligence and automation capabilities that sit under the services CSG delivers to you. But from your perspective as a customer, the most important thing isn't the technology itself. It's that CSG is fully accountable for how this platform is deployed and monitored and supported in your environment. You're not expected to manage the complexity or manage the consoles of the vendors. CSG, along with Acronis, will take ownership of that complexity for you. So what makes our approach different? It starts with integrated cyber protection, and that scale only works because of how the platform is built. So let me explain what that actually means. So most IT estates today are results of years of incremental decisions, different vendors, backup strategies, security, monitoring, email protection, all doing parts of the job. And that tool sprawl creates noise, slows response, and makes recovery harder than it should be. And at the same time, teams are under pressure to move faster, often experimenting with public or AI tools that raise questions over compliance, data protection, governance. So CSG's approach with Acronis and their own ecosystem is about removing that friction, giving teams automation and assistance built directly from what we've got into the platform, using data, access and controls that are already governed. We work very closely with frameworks such as NIST, which helps structure the conversation into 4 stages, and we'll cover those in a bit more detail later, but they're essentially anticipate, withstand, recovery and adapt. And the important point is that CSG don't just advise on this, they actively help design, test and operate this resilient life cycle for customers. So recovery is controlled and predictable rather than just reactive and ultimately stressful. So customers need to do more with less and without also growing headcount at the same rate. And the journey we're on is about AI-powered automation and assistance, built on native integration that's within the Acronis platform and workflow automation. So This reduces repetitive work and improves the response speed as well. I mentioned this already, but the technicians using public tools to try and get faster and to improve efficiencies, but compliance and quality controls can't agree with how this data, how it can be shared and the uncontrollable nature of it. So within our platform, where Acronis AI is built to keep privacy and auditability foundational, so it enables productivity without losing any trust. So within cyber resilience, it's not just about stopping attacks. Incidents will still happen. But what really matters is how quickly and safely your business can recover without extending downtime, data loss, or reputational damage. Without clear playbooks and RTO or RPO targets, incidents cost time, data, revenue, and, as I mentioned, reputation as well. So resilience is a life cycle. It's about anticipating, it's about withstanding, it's about recovering, and it's about adapting across all these security controls, utilizing backup and DR. So a little bit about our journey with AI, and we started utilizing and embedding machine learning into our core protection back in 2017 with anti-ransomware, behavioral detection and health monitoring part of the platform. Then it moved more into operations, so things like anomaly detection and script generation as well. And then from 2024 and into sort of more modern times, co-pilots now help support the sort of faster decisions as well. The next step, and where this is all moving towards now, is consolidating this data, consolidating the intelligence and workflows, and consolidating it as one managed intelligence platform. I mentioned NIST a couple of times, and this is important to understand just how Acronis maps to this NIST resilience pillars. Again, anticipate, withstand, recovery, adapt. So companies can justify the approach in a structured way to clients, and how us being Acronis and CSG help manage those and help those map those features to those pillars within NIST. So everything we've discussed so far relies on having a strong foundation. And with Acronis, that foundation is simple. It's one shared data model across backup, security, and recovery. And that practical outcome of the integration is the consolidation piece. So with CSG, it's one platform, one support channel, one billing relationship, and one partner. And they're accountable for protecting your data and getting you back online. So this reduces operational costs, improves the visibility, and removes finger pointing when incidents occur. Across the platform, you'll see AI assistance, data protection intelligence, so things like recovery recommendations, malware-free restores, security insights, including things like incident summaries and response recommendations, and operational support, so monitoring, scripting, patch scoring, and deployment. So consolidation is the practical outcome, and as I mentioned, it's one supplier, one support team, and one invoice from CSG. And this is across your backup, your DR, your cybersecurity, and business operational tooling as well. And integrated here means natively integrated, not just stitched together. Now, rather than walking through every feature in detail, I think it's more useful to explain what happens before, during, and after an incident. So before an incident, Acronis ensures that backups are continuously running, protected against ransomware using immutability, and scanned for malware, so recovery points are trusted. Critical workloads are protected more frequently, so data loss is minimized. And during an incident, disaster recovery is automated, so its failover is orchestrated using predefined runbooks that bring systems online in the correct order. And testing is performed regularly, so there is no surprises when a real event occurs. After an incident, recovery is validated. So malware-free recovery points are selected and failback is performed efficiently with minimal disruption. The goal is always the same: restore services quickly and safely while protecting business data. So for critical apps and applications, the agent monitors changes continuously. So if malware hits, you restore from the last backup and you apply the latest captured changes, protecting work in progress and tightening the RPO. It's worth noting that traditional backup data can be infected. Acronis, by updating AV definitions and scanning backup data and images, means you can restore malware-free OS image, reducing repeat infections and speeding remediation. XDR here is positioned as a complete protection in one solution. So natively integrated across security, data protection, and endpoint management. The goal is faster, AI-guided protection of the riskiest services, endpoints, security, identity, and Microsoft 365 apps. We can scan backups in the cloud as well before restoration to prevent reinfection. So catching bootkits, rootkits, and offloading endpoint scans faster for verified clean restores. Acronis prevents accidental and malicious data loss by also utilising Acronis error-proof immutable backups for integrated cyber protection and fast recovery, immutable ransomware safe restores, points, and centralised management. So a few stats here. 1 in 4 businesses are prepared for a cyber attack, even though there's a hacker attack every 39 seconds. And 77% of users can't identify a source link, or even 70% think a malicious URL is safe. And 50% of businesses haven't updated their security in 3 years, and 47% don't have data security strategy in place. The point here is DR is foundational to resilience because cyber attacks and operational failures dominate outages. Monitoring plus robust recovery is how MSPs and IT departments keep clients running. So in this slide, you can see how this could work. So in this instance, a replica of a protected server, which spins up in the Acronis data center in case of failover and failover readiness check. Then a virtual server deployed in the Acronis data center to host application nodes, or for another scenario where an additional host is required. Clearly, this is just a high-level architecture. Customer sites protected with a secure VPN connectivity and a recovery site in the Acronis data center. And with recovery service spinning up replicas of failover readiness checks, and primary host servers nodes, if needed, can be deployed as well. Now, choosing the right DR strategy is, of course, important. So cold DR minimizes cost and with compute only when disaster occurs, or warm DR targets near zero RTO for mission critical systems. So destinations for this can be the Acronis cloud, it could be a high-res environment, or it can be Azure, which I'll touch upon again a bit later on. And these are depending on the regulation, the sensitivity of the environment and the workloads. So the Acronis Disaster Recovery Cloud is a single solution, as I've mentioned, to meet the needs of small and medium-sized enterprises, enabling disaster recovery for any SME use case. So this includes Windows, Linux, major hypervisors, applications, and virtual appliances. So companies can actually standardize DR across a varied environment. And runbooks automate the failover, testing multiple machines and ensuring the right order when they come back online, which is critical when apps have dependencies across systems. Automated failback also helps transfer data back while the cloud VMs runs, giving progress updates and downtime estimates and aim for near zero downtime with simple user guidance. We also have automated test failover. So within the advanced DR elements, you can schedule weekly or monthly tests, and then you get AI-powered screenshot verifications to check the workloads are running, and you get a consolidated report after each session. You can also fail over using encrypted backups by securely storing passwords in the credential store. And this supports compliance requirements, but whilst all keeping the DR operations automated. And you can review recovery points and indicators of compromise found during backup scanning, and then choose that malware-free point for failover. Finally, as I mentioned earlier, we also have DR into Azure as well, making Azure site an alternative destination for a DR platform, leveraging infrastructure as a service capability and orchestrating DR scenarios. So what's next in the roadmap? So as you see here, the roadmap is about turning this platform intelligence into real operational value. So capabilities such as productive alert analysis, tailored responses, and customer-ready reporting all help CSG deliver a higher quality managed service without increased complexity for you. So important, these improvements are adopted and operationalized by CSG. So customers will benefit from that innovation without needing to continuously re-architect their own environments. So hopefully some of the points that I mentioned within the slides sort of resonated with you guys. Happy to answer some questions around that. If you have any sort of thoughts or any sort of scenarios that you need any help with, I'm more than happy to try to answer them right now, or alternatively, we can take those away and we can discuss them following. I think you're just on mute, Eve.
Classic error there. Thank you so much for your time. It's really interesting to take a look at how AI is actually affecting it, because AI is a buzzword. Everyone's talking about the benefits of it, how it's implemented, but it's really interesting to dig deep into what it's actually doing, which is really exciting today. So a few questions. A couple of our customers couldn't attend today, and they wanted to take a little more look at the automated failover, so how that basically works and how the recovery steps are supported by AI. Sorry, can't talk this morning. So I think the question that people are asking is, what is the actual real value? Because AI is being pretty much thrown into every system now, every kind of business support. So how is that actually improving disaster recovery, really?
Yeah, I think so from an operational perspective, it's about improving and creating efficiencies. I think there is an element of taking the risk out of the remediation process and not just helping manage more, but also improving speed and effectiveness as well. The run books, though, also are important in terms of keeping a level of process that keeps everything sort of in a structured and meaningful way. But AI is the sort of the buzzword, but it's all ultimately down to the automation, the orchestration within the platform. So these can be delivered by various scripting, which you can use via sort of a PowerShell or something like that, or it can be through sort of some of the new interfaces that we're now developing, where it's more sort of graphical based, so it's drag and drop, and you can move those workloads into the sort of order that you need it to be. But I think ultimately it's allowing organisations to do more with less, or doing more with the same, I think was probably a better way of putting it. Organisations are, having to have more demands put onto them, and so I think it's been able to adapt to those without necessarily having to invest in more headcount or spend in other areas like that.
And we discussed about like what's to come. So do you feel like autonomous cyber protection is happening today and that is happening with companies, or do you feel like it's more of a future Acronis vision?
I would say it's both really, and I think it's today and it's the future. I think it's more of a movement of continuous innovation is probably a way of describing it. The automation and the AI powered automation and assistance is just the beginning of what's possible on this journey, and it will improve and it will get better, and it will support more in the future.
And automated cyber protection, it's not just about AI, I'm assuming. What other kind of capabilities does it include and involve?
So it's cyber protection is about bringing the different products and different security and protection layers into an environment, because it's not just about having a ability to have a restoration from a safe and clean piece of backup. It's about preventing it in the first place, and also it isn't just limited to software. Things like training, security awareness training is important, because we also recognise that with strong and robust systems in place, that ultimately people are still a part of that process, and the ability to ensure that the knowledge is passed on to those as well is important. But I know there's continued and increasing threat services. The threat vectors are increasing, with collaboration apps and multiple sort of places where data is stored. So it's ensuring that all those are also protected. But in the unfortunately inevitable likelihood that something does still breach, it's that ability then to what happens next. It's making sure that your data is safe and protected, and with your mutable backups, as I mentioned, and it's that ability to restore quickly and bring operations up and running. And it also doesn't, and although that's a lot of it feels like it's around cyber attacks and the like, there is also the things to consider out of where there might be more sort of traditional types of disaster, like fire, water damage, with floods, theft even as well, and what happens around those types of things, or accidental deletion of data as well, which is obviously something that can happen as well, and it's about bringing those things back together.
100%. And I mean, we all know that AI is reducing manual time and it's making processes quicker. But do you really feel that it's going to replace human technicians? Or, I mean, a lot of people on social media, when I'm scrolling through, it's the question that people keep asking, isn't it? Is AI going to take over what that personal effect is from that one-on-one human technician, really? So.
No. I think there is always you need to be a human element in the decision making, and ultimately there's sort of the balance and checks. But it's helping augment those sort of technicians and users with that additional knowledge base, and help improve their level of productivity, but also the quality of the work, the work-life balance as well. It's utilizing those things are really important. Although I will say that persons or people who use AI or use technology to support their roles may end up replacing those who choose not to, because they're not keeping along with the technology. So my view is that it doesn't, but I think it's important that we embrace and utilize and understand and get the benefit out of it.
Yeah, because I mean, there's still going to be AI-driven errors. The systems tools are still learning, aren't they? So I think the importance of having that control, and for IT leaders, IT managers to basically understand how AI is behaving in their organisation. There's no point in just getting an AI tool and just going, yep, that's worked in the background. It's nice to actually understand the ins and outs of how it's working, which is why your presentation today is so much more beneficial for the IT managers on the call today, so they can actually just remind themselves how the tools and the processes are working, because I know there's a lot of gaps between confidence in using the AI tools and the testing that actually goes on behind it. So that's why it's really beneficial to have these discussions with you today. So thank you again for joining us. And one last question from the chat is, I've got a few different customers across a different range of industries. And a lot of the time, it's quite difficult to govern ethical frameworks, isn't it, on how AI is being used across different ones. So is there any sort of tools or frameworks or governance things that Acronis offers on how to do that?
Yeah. So we have a web tool actually, which is a publicly accessible tool, which allows you to depending on your location, so your region, you can select UK or wherever you may be based. You can then pick also your type of industry, so which sort of vertical you're likely to be in, and then that'll also bring up all the relevant frameworks or sort of compliance regulations within that particular territory and align to that vertical. So you can then see which ones are important and which one may be useful. And of course, then how does Acronis help you align to those as well? So there's a nice way of explaining that. I'm for everybody who's joined today, I'm sure I can share that URL with you, to share it out with the guys. But if you effectively just search for Acronis Compliance Navigator, that you can find it anywhere quite quickly.
Brilliant. And one last question for you today, because today's webinar was how fast can your business bounce back, and what is actually happening to businesses for that. So what would you say is the priorities with regards to getting your data quickly? So would that be fast data recovery and then the automatic sort of failover processes? But what do you feel like is the most important thing when it comes to making sure that your data you can access it as quickly as possible, because that is the point of today's call. How fast can businesses bounce back if something was to happen?
Yeah, so I mean, some of the things I touched upon during the slides is that there's an element of what happens when you first get breached and what sort of things you have in place, and a lot of we talked around the sort of the AI and automation will help improve and speed that process. But it's also having that confidence that you can restore back to a malware-free and clean backup image that is available to be able to restore from. And also having the ability to utilize whatever infrastructure that you might want to restore to. As I mentioned, within Acronis, we have the ability to utilize the Acronis cloud to spin up compute within that, or we can help restore back to where that may be. So it might be a separate DC or back to sort of a bare metal recovery, whatever that might be. We will help you to sort of support around that based on what the requirements are. But in the utilization of the Acronis cloud is where a lot of our customers ultimately utilize our DI platform, because it's really quick, it's very efficient, and it's I would like to think pretty competitively priced based on the ability what it gives you to support you back.
Yeah, definitely. And I would just went back to this slide here, because I just think it's such a great way to just show how much of a difference it is in layers terms. I'm not a technical background, as everyone knows, I'm the marketer, and seeing something like this here just to see exactly how it's the proactive approach is laid out is just really, really beneficial. So if anyone wants a copy of this, I'll get it to them at the end of this slide, because that is something that you can visualize it, can't you? I think a lot of the time it's just nice to visualize the actual benefits of it. So that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. It was really good to have a chat about disaster recovery and the ways that we can support. So if you want to have a meeting after the follow-up, please do just set up a meeting with your account manager, or feel free to pop us an email, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Neil. It's been an absolute pleasure